Hello, Steves, Alexes, and every skin in between. Welcome to Block Game Banter. My name's Code.
Hi, Moni.
I'm Dino.
I'm Firecracker.
Welcome back, folks. We will be discussing a couple peculiar topics that we've kind of avoided up to this point for a variety of reasons. But those
All of
topics
them intentional.
consist of redstone, farming, and all of that stuff you do that makes Minecraft slightly more automated. So, when I brought this topic up, I'm the primary person on this group that actually does redstone for fun. Not sure if it's actually fun or just self-inflicted torture, but we do what we do. So we all picked different topics. I believe Code picked the more pranky side of redstone. Dino picked a whole bunch of different timer things, and then Ferks is focusing on like the conveniences of furnaces and that type of stuff. So who wants to go first with what they've done?
I can go first.
Go for it.
And before you get into timer tangent, yes, it was a timer tangent, but also practicalities for building. That's kind of where I was kind of focusing. So I started out looking at daylight sensors because those are kind of the more obvious timer thing, like they flip on and off depending on whether or not it's day or night. And then I started realizing, hey, what if you just want it, like that's good for, say you want to have street lights come on. You literally just put a lantern with a daylight sensor on top of it on like a post, so it kind of looks like street lamps.
That's cool.
And then boom, you have an automatic light system without needing weird fancy redstone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I also kind of got on the tangent of Ender Pearl teleportation, like stasis farms. Ender Pearl stasis chambers, that's what they're called. Words. So I was looking into those and I was like, wow, yeah, Dream did the daylight sensor thing. But then also the Hermits did like the emergency meeting where for the mycelium resistance where the push button, all of them up here, you know?
Yep.
And so I was thinking like, well, is there a way where it's like you push a button, but you don't have to wait for like day or night cycle, you know? So kind of like a combination of the two. And that landed me on basic like hopper timer, like hopper clocks, timers and stuff like that. And so I found this very easy thing that's just like some hoppers, comparators, redstone and stuff. And you can like, based on the amount of items you put in the hopper that is like linked to the comparator, that is how long it is. Like I was counting in my head to time things out. Like how I can keep a piston extended for 10 seconds if I put in 11 like stone blocks into the hopper. And so I was just messing around with things like that. And then I started thinking on the building side, like you don't want to just have your piston door open and then stay open. You also want to have it like open then immediately close. So the solution for that, if you want to have it automatically close behind you, is a timer system. So you have it like set for a certain amount of seconds that it stays open, and it'll automatically close behind you. And you can actually link up the start of like your timer to both sides of the doorway if you wanted to. It's easy to do that. And so you could just have door automatically close behind you. And I thought that that's like cool for fun like sci-fi builds.
Absolutely.
And
Oh,
things like
it's
that.
cool for every build because, it's a pain to have to turn around and close the door. And sometimes you don't want to use pressure plates because you don't want mobs opening and closing the doors. So that's actually fairly useful.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking like vaults, like 3x3 piston door type deals. Because then you're already having to hide redstone in your walls, so what's more redstone to hide in the walls, right?
Right.
Like, it's not too big. The thing that I have is like 3x5, and then only one block high. Technically kind of two, I guess, because you have to put redstone on top of a block at one point. But like, it's not that big.
That's not that huge.
No,
Yeah,
that's
and
nice
you'd be able to
compact.
put it underground if you wanted to as well, and then just like link it up. Like, but you just have to have the timer system somewhere. And it's the timer system that's like the biggest part of it. The rest is just like redstone linking, which you'd have to do anyway. So I was just like, it's super small, super compact, super easy. And like, I mean, I could do it, and everything I touch turned to broken. I can't even make sugarcane farm work properly.
You blow my mind.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. Okay.
No,
Just so you know.
I laugh at myself too. Yes, I figured out how to make a hopper clock. I can't make a sugarcane farm.
I'm impressed.
Laugh at the dinosaur. So I'm really bad at farms, but I'm really good at builds. And so I like to, by putting things into perspective of, ooh, how can this help me with my builds? I was able
Right.
to find something that like I actually could use redstone for. And I actually really enjoyed doing it because like I was like, ooh, inspiration for big build. And I'm like, I don't have the time for that right now, but I have in the future something I can use. And so
Yay.
that's my choice for redstone. Like, I don't care about efficiency, I care about coolness. So, yeah, so that's what I was working on. And that's like how I got to hopper clocks.
You know, it's all a great big circle of puzzles. But I definitely think that is a wonderful topic, wonderful point. Definitely gonna need to steal that photo of your lovely paper sketch design.
Take a photo of the actual built thing for you.
Love to see it. But yeah, no, absolutely. Like, hopper clocks are a massively important thing. Like, we have, like, the Etho hopper clock and that, like, original compact clock. We got all sorts of repeater clocks. We got the good old reliable, what's the word? Daylight sensor. Those are absolute necessity for a lot of different things. Specifically, pranks, code.
Ah.
So,
All right, I'm gonna.
transition.
Yes. Pranking friends.
Oh, yep. So, one of my favorite things to do, I did this a lot on God Hunter, where I'd make random hidey holes by people's bases and just store a bunch of stuff that I could prank them with. But my favorite one, which happens to coincidentally be the one that I only did on Luca, is a repeater system that at random just has a bell ring.
That's mean.
When he was the king on God Hunter, he had all his stuff up in the castle and whatever. So I hid it in the castle in a section where no one went to, and it took extreme amounts of efforts to get into. And then when that was found, I hid it in the floor.
You're evil.
I am evil, and it worked, and it was hilarious.
It did work.
I'm pretty sure that was part of the reason why he became a hermit on the server, but it's fine.
It's also valid.
So how often would the thing ring then?
Depends how big you actually make the redstone system. Because
Okay.
repeaters have the 4 settings, and each setting like delays it a little bit longer from going through. And depending on how many of those you have and how big the loop is in general determines how long it is in between. So the first time it went off like once every 10 seconds. And the second time it went off once every 30 seconds.
Dang. That's
It was
that's a
it was
lot.
it was a pain to set up, but it was worth it.
It would be so cool if you could randomize it.
I do know
I'm sure
there
there's a way.
is a way.
Oh, I want to.
Actually.
It's like a
Gonna
mix
have
of like repeater circuits and hopper clocks, isn't it?
Well,
to
there's
get it
also
random?
a way to do it without using a ton of redstone, and that's a cactus and an observer.
Oh.
Because you can do it with bamboo too, but specifically with cactus, because if it grows and not hits the observer area, it's gonna break. But that observer is gonna pick it up and ring it, and that's something that Impulse did in season 8 of season 7 of Hermitcraft to Grian and a couple other
7,
folks.
8, 7.
It all runs together after a while. But-
It do.
Cactuses are a great way to have a random tick because they grow at random ticks on their own. And so that mixed with either like bamboo or with grass spreading is another one. Because if a block changes from a dirt block to a grass block, observers can pick that up. Oh, observers, I was so glad when they were added.
It would
Like
be great
how they
if I
have
knew
the
how to
face.
use them.
Yeah, I agree. I just like the face on them, though.
They do make funny faces.
You can turn them into, like, little guardmen just standing around your base if you wanted to.
That is very true.
Can we talk about how most redstone like things have funny faces?
Yeah.
They do.
They do.
Now that I think about it, you're right.
Furnaces just look like very upset cyclopses.
Yeah, yes.
I
Robot
feel like that
faces.
describes furnaces very well, actually.
Upset
That is-
cyclopses.
Accurate description of what a furnace is.
Yep. But-
Speaking of furnaces.
Yeah, furnaces.
Yes. My absolute cannot do without redstone, especially early game, is my furnace setup, my auto furnace setup. And all it takes is 3 hoppers. So that's only 27 pieces of iron. And now that we have, iron is so plentiful, especially, at higher elevations, it doesn't take that long to get that much iron. And then, so you put whatever you want to smelt at the top, going into the top, right? And then you have, on the back, you have whatever you're going to use to power the furnace. And then underneath the furnace, it goes into a chest. And it's all automatic. And So one of the things that I do early game, or I try to do early game, is either to make a mob farm or find like a skelly grinder or something.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you need bone meal for everything,
Oh, yeah.
right? So what I like to do is I like to have that set up right next to my mob grinder or skelly farm. Did you guys know that you can burn bows?
No, I did not.
Yes.
Know that.
Yes, you can. So all those bows that are like trash bows, you can put in your fuel chest to go into your furnace, and then any iron or gold stuff that the mobs are wearing that you get in your chest that's all broken and stuff, then you could put that in whatever you're going to smelt. So you've got that going on while you're waiting for your mobs to fall down or whatever, however you're doing your mob farm. And so you can have this thing going while you're doing your mob farm. And so you're getting resources, you're getting rid of those half useless bows and stuff.
I both
And,
love and hate this information.
I know. and so most of the time you're trying to get XP as well. So I also put the is it grindstone? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Yes, right next to that. So then I take the enchanted bows, I grindstone them, put them in my furnace thing. The armor, grindstone, put it in the furnace thing. So I've got stuff I don't know how many of you guys get bored just sitting there waiting for the mobs to, you know, come down. But so
Yeah.
I'm getting XP from my grindstone. I'm getting XP from my, well, not from my furnace, because we'll talk about that in a second, but from my mob farm, and then I'm getting all kinds of resources. So that brings me to my second thing, which is using that same furnace setup for an early game XP farm. Like maybe even before you have your mob farm, you can make the auto furnace, right?
Uh-huh.
And all you have to do is lock the bottom hopper with a lever or something. And then once you've cooked whatever it is you're cooking, you know, you take it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get all that XP, right?
Yep.
So you could hook that up to your cactus farm or your bamboo farm or whatever. I'm always cooking taters. Before I get silk touch, I'm making stone out of cobble So it's a really easy way to make an early game XP farm. But you got to lock that bottom hopper, because if you let it go through into the chest, you lose all that delicious XP.
See, I found another way that if it does go through the chest, it still holds the XP. You just have to put a lever at the front of the furnace and flip the furnace off and take the item out, and you still get all the XP.
Right.
Which,
So that's what you have to do.
yeah, one of
Right.
the two should work
One of the
just
two.
fine.
Right.
But no,
So I mean, you could
furnaces.
you can incorporate that into both designs.
Mm-hmm.
What about furnaces?
I can't live without a furnace array. Like, I build full furnace arrays with, like, typically I'll do it with just hoppers, but I've started to move towards using hopper minecarts to run over them and drop stuff off and move stuff out of them, just because it's a little bit faster than the hoppers doing it themselves. But I constantly have one running, which is a wee bit concerning when it comes to the fact that this is on my single player world and I genuinely don't need that much dried kelp. But I have
Kelp,
that
right.
much dried kelp. Kelp is also just a great thing, because, like, that's an easy thing to farm, whether it be manually
Right.
or with an actual farm. Or you can just do it with an actual farm, because same thing again, observers can detect the growth of the top of a kelp piece, and so you can auto break it, and there's beautiful farms. I think my favorite one I've ever seen done was one that Cubfan built a couple seasons ago. Last season before, I don't know. But kelp farms, super, super great, super, super easy fuel source. My go-to fuel source, I hate using coal in furnaces.
Me too.
It feels so wasteful.
It does.
And, like, even though, like, on Sleepycraft SMP, we have a literal wither skeleton farm with infinite coal, it feels wasteful.
We do?
Yes, we do.
Don't tell
Good to
Code
know.
that.
It's just
You're
very
giving
hard to
Code
get
access
to.
to withers.
Well, you can't really use the withers because they've been all cleared out, and we can't use the farm because the guy whose dog is in it that runs the farm hasn't been on the server in a minute, so it just has an obnoxious amount of coal in there. But it is, once again, it still feels wasteful for me to use that, so like I'm either always using bamboo, I'm using kelp, I'm using something that isn't coal, just because it isn't naturally renewable without building a giant farm, such as a wither skeleton farm, which in themselves are also a massive pain to build, because you gotta clear so many chunks or spawn proof so many chunks, which comes down to, do you redstone that crap and TNT dupe it out of existence, or do you waste the time or spend all the time putting pressure plates or buttons down, because that's an expensive measure to take too, which mad respect to people who sit down and spawn proof the entire area instead of TNTing it, because that is patience in itself, or they just really scare me. I'm not sure which.
Both,
yeah. But either way, super like fun thing to do is one of those farms if you're working on a server and have the people to help you clear out that area. But then we swing back around because like farms, I am notorious for building massive mob farms. Or just massive farms in general. Anyone who's seen my industrial district on Sleepycraft can vouch for it. I just build them to build them. I don't actually use them, which is a wee bit concerning. But it is a thing I do. I enjoy it. I love it. It's super fun to me. It's a nice challenge. So that's what we swing back to, is though we look at people like, because I also have the bad habit of watching hours on hours on hours on hours of Minecraft Redstone tutorial videos. I'm gonna blame Mumbo Jumbo for getting me into it, but he was the rabbit hole down to like LogicalGeekBoy, TangoTek, ImpulseSV, ilmango, all of those people, and now I'm stuck. Constantly getting recommended videos. Because ever since then, I found out, like, auto sorters. My life has been changed. I live by auto sorters, specifically the design that Impulse did 2013, 2014-ish, when, like, repeaters were and comparators were first becoming a standard thing in Minecraft. I literally have that video saved. Like, it is, I watch it every couple months because I forget how to do it every time, or I don't trust myself to do it correctly every time.
Right.
So it's one of those things of, like, you go back to your videos, you trust your tutorials. Same thing with redstone doors. I love them. I still will go back to the tutorial to check that my redstone looks right.
Can I ask you a question about your item sorter?
Go for it.
Do you use the non-stackable item sorter in conjunction with an item sorter?
I have yet to actually use the non-stackable just because I don't typically have enough non-stackable items to use it.
Ah, okay.
Because I typically get rid of the non-stackable items anyway. So it definitely, like, because all the farms that I have that would be affected by that, I auto burn most of it.
Okay.
So I also have, like, used several of the systems to take and sort out. Because, like, if you have a giant mob farm that's just for general mobs, and you end up with 14 double chests worth of arrows, I don't know who you are, but I will never use that many arrows.
Right.
So I have a thing.
I wish those burned.
They don't, which is so annoying. So I have a dispenser that once it hits 2 double chests worth of arrows, it spits them into lava for me.
Okay, but think about this, all right? If we're thinking about redstone and practical redstone, you could take all of those arrows, right, and make some kind of security system around your base for mobs at night. So it would just start chucking arrows at them all the way around your base.
That could be interesting.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that system.
Huh.
That'd be fun.
Might play
But
with
also, I feel like we you touched on it a bit when we were talking about, like, some of the people that were like, oh, we saw this. Like, I brought up something that I think the emergency meeting button was done by Etho, I'm fairly certain.
Pretty certain, yeah.
Fairly certain it was Etho. But it's like, we keep bringing up all these names and stuff. I feel like we gotta, like, pay our respects to the really crazy talented people. Like, I feel like the name of all names in the redstone community is ilmango.
Yeah.
Yeah, LogicalGeekBoy's also done a ton, so is Etho.
Yeah, I know, but, like, the name that constantly gets brought up by people who are, like, also already respected for their redstone ability, it's like, yeah, I nicked this off of ilmango, or I changed their design. And I'm like, I feel like we gotta pay respect. Like, there's tons of people who come out and like create these designs that just become like commonplace and commonly used, you know? And I feel like we gotta like respect, like, we're just a bunch of people who don't have a lot of redstone experience. We're not like the super crazy redstoners. We're for the most part, builders and pranksters.
Yep.
100%.
100%. And so I feel like we gotta also like shout out, like, there's a bunch of people out there who, if you really want to learn how to do redstone, you just have you have to check them out. Like, there's the standards, the go-tos.
Right.
Like ilmango, etho.
If you're looking for standard simple farms, you go to TangoTek. If you're looking for early game efficient farms, you go to ilmango and Impulse. If you're looking for crazy stuff, you go to etho. If you're looking for fun stuff and goofy things like walking houses, you go to Mumbo.
I know that it's like not like, I don't think you can find it on YouTube anymore, but I grew up actually watching a series called Redstoner, which is kind of like a mix of roleplay and redstone, done by currently it's your pal Ross. And he, like, it was just, he made a calculator that could only add up to one number, so he was like, it only adds to this number, but it still had, like, the display, you know, functioning.
The display in itself, those are, oh my gosh, they hurt my head to try and do.
Yeah, no, so he did some really cool things. They were just not done, like, he's not a redstone master, you know, but they were still really highly impressive, like, fun and entertaining to watch things mixed with, like, roleplay. And kind of, like, taught you a bit how to do it in the beginning. Like, hey, here's the thing, and, like, flew around so you could, like, see it. Just things like that. Because redstone isn't just, and I'm bringing up this point, because, like, redstone isn't just, like, the clinical, scientific programming that it appears to be, you know? Like, it can be done in entertaining and ridiculous fashions, and it has many uses, like, many people do, like, some people are like, oh, I'm bad at redstone. Like, you don't have to be good at redstone to still use redstone. Everyone puts a button near a door.
Right.
Yep.
You know? That's redstone.
I still do that.
It is redstone.
Yep, that's redstone. And so I feel like people beat themselves up too much about not being, like, the best of the best.
You don't
or
need to be
people
able
think
to build
that-
a computer in Minecraft to be good at redstone.
And, like, that computer that got built in Minecraft, that took people months, and that was a team. That wasn't just one guy. That was multiple people over multiple months. Like, don't beat yourself up for doing something that takes some people years and a whole team to do. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone has the time to do that. It's just about doing things that are fun, like me with my little hopper timers, because I'm like, I can make fancier doors. All I care about is making fancier doors, and that's redstone. I
just want fancy doors.
Right? I just want fancy doors. I don't need to have, like, the high efficient farms. And most casual players don't need to have the highly efficient farms. They don't have
micro
like,
farms.
Micro farms, like super easy, simple, basic designs. And so it's just like, don't look at people who do redstone and think, oh, I could never do that. Because you're already doing redstone almost every single time you play the game.
Right.
And that swings back again to even Grian's learning redstone. He had full setups for farming dyes. He had full setups for farming other things. He had a sorting system. And just because you have to copy someone's design to do it doesn't mean you're not doing redstone.
Right.
Everyone starts somewhere, and some people just have the predisposed brain to solve that kind of stuff. And so it's not bad that you're doing it by learning from them.
As long as you give them credit.
Yep.
Right?
Do not steal their
that's
stuff.
All we ask.
Mumbo's dealing with that right now. Someone tried to steal one of his builds and take claim for it. So don't do that. Don't be that person. That's a bad person.
It's like, don't try to reinvent the wheel because you see somebody else building a car.
Right.
But also don't claim responsibility for building the car if you still haven't figured out how to build the wheel.
Right.
Exactly. But once again, though, it doesn't mean you can't do that stuff. And once we swing back to like super simple things, I have a redstone kind of system that I use for my villager infection system and trading and breeding. Is it literally only buttons and a couple powered rails? Yes. Is it still redstone? I would think so.
Yes. 100%. If it's button, yes. And it powers something, yes.
But another thing that you have to think about is, like, technically, you also have systems like iron farms. They don't have to be redstone driven. They can also be game mechanic driven.
They can, but it's so much nicer when it can just run on redstone.
Oh yeah, no, when the redstone makes it automated, it is heavenly. But once again, though, it swings back to it is still redstone. Is it literally, maybe yours is just a flapping trapdoor to keep the villagers from being too panicked by the zombie that it breaks system? Sure, that's redstone. But, once again though, we have systems like super efficient sugarcane farms. Thank you TangoTek for building that monstrosity that I now use all the time, and I love it because it's moduled. It can be as big as you want, or it can literally just be one section that has 16 pieces of sugarcane growing in it, which I swear by. Love that thing.
You know, one of the, I don't know if you've ever seen this, Oni, but on Hypermine, we had an automated piglin trading system
Yes,
with
I
redstone.
did.
Yeah,
I love
that's
the auto
pretty
trading
cool.
systems.
So that's nice that, I mean, there are a lot of things you can do with redstone that you don't necessarily would think of. I mean,
Yeah.
go out and search it out, see what everybody's doing.
And you're not really losing anything by experimenting on your own. I have a test world that I have a whole bunch of stuff on. Mind you, it's still 117. I really should move to 118. But it is a test world. It literally is a world of me just testing. I don't know how comparators work. Let's figure it out. And me spending, I think it was about 6 days trying to figure out how exactly comparators worked. Which the answer is, I still don't know exactly. But I have a better idea now, because they're confusing and weird, and I still use them in a lot of things, because I have figured them out. And so, like, auto loading systems for your hopper minecart that's zipping around your sorting system, or zipping around your furnace array. Redstone. And then there's also the simplicity of, you can literally have an automated flower farm. And it doesn't have to be the giant ones that shifts the ground and uses bone meal that way. It can just be your 2 tall flowers and it just spits bone meal on them. Those are super fun, and they use things like dinos. They can use things like dinos timers that they're talking about, or you can use the Etho hopper clock, or you can use just about anything to power that, which I think is super, super fun. And if you're really, really looking to get into crazy stuff, you can always look at SciCraft. SciCraft. That's where we're gonna leave that.
Yeah. Also, we've gone this entire recording so far without even mentioning roller coasters.
Oh my gosh, roller coasters.
Oh, yeah.
Roller
Actually,
coasters.
I was going to mention, you know, getting that zombie up into the thing for your iron farm,
We
that
don't
does
talk
need.
about the zombie.
It's so much easier, especially if you're playing hardcore or ultra hardcore, to get him up there with some
Powered rails.
you know, roller coaster action, some powered rails, and some, you know, levers and stuff to power him, and yeah,
And then something that'll shake them out for you.
right. Or just leave him in the minecart,
True. That's always an option.
drop him down, leave him in the minecart.
He can say like that. He's fine.
He's fine.
No, yeah, but there's so many things that people don't think of as redstone, because I feel like redstone has been, like, just turned into this image of complexity and brains that, you know, it can be, but it isn't that complicated. It's not.
It is.
Like, I mean,
A
if you look,
note block for your doorbell with a button on it, like, you know.
I mean, doors are literally classified under redstone in the creative menu.
There's also
They
auto
aren't
composters.
in miscellaneous.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Auto compost. Oh, yes. I forgot about that. I
Live
have
by
one of
the
those
auto
right near my
composter.
farms. Yep.
I
love
have
those.
3 on my single player world.
Especially if you don't have a skelly farm
Nah.
and you're doing like beets for your villager trading, it's perfect
or just
to
wheat.
compost that crap.
The
True.
excess saplings, you can also put it into your farms and auto do that, because sometimes the villagers will throw those back at you if you're trading with them. Use it for your overflow system if you have a melon pumpkin farm that you're in the area for all the time, but you forget to check. Because
I have a composter in my iron farm, so it composts all the poppies.
Yep.
Yep.
We end up with so many bone blocks that we don't never actually use. I need to work on finding more bone builds. Dino, new challenge for you. Bone builds.
I don't
Bone
like
house?
bone blocks.
No!
They
Bone
sound
house?
wrong.
Bone house.
Bone house?
Bone house. I build giant skeletons, so that's what I do with them. But yeah, no, simple things like auto composters, your doorbell, a daylight sensor to turn on your street light like Dino likes to use. Because I have some of those. I will admit I use them.
So easy.
It is so easy. And then
And I am dumb.
well, there's also like the infinite possibilities for observers because like you can do a lot of hidden doors with observers. And
I
when
wonder if you could redstone the dragon fight.
I think
You
someone
probably
has.
You can. You
Someone
can.
has,
You can.
Yeah.
Let
me find
I
it.
think it's.
I'm
I
finding
remember
it.
seeing one with TNT
Yeah, someone did it with
where,
TNT.
and I don't remember what they did, but they had it set up where they were like in. You know that thing you can do with villagers with pistons on ice, and you just like shoot them around in the box shape in the with the. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I can show a picture of
TNT
it.
launchers, like the
But-
TNT launcher that make you go wee.
No, this one is
Oh.
with pistons where the pistons, like the villager will hit like a trapdoor or not trapdoor? No. Pressure plate on the ground and they'll get pushed by a piston and it'll shoot them towards another pressure plate and they'll just go in a box shape.
Oh.
But someone used that
Oh.
setup to
Mhm.
make it so they could go AFK with an auto clicker to click where the end crystals would get placed. So they were able to use that plus the TNT launcher and just constantly have dragons spawn and then respawn while AFK.
I think.
That is crazy.
Yeah, no, I found the person who did it. I think their name is Ike. They did it last year in April.
Yes.
Not last year,
Yeah.
2 years ago in April.
Ish.
I forget it's 2022. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's another one I'd like to throw out there. Another challenge.
Mm-hmm.
An easier way to do the ocean monument,
Oh my gosh.
right?
There's no
You
easy
made-
way,
Like you
only
set up an
suffering.
auto drainer, don't you?
I mean, you could. Now in 118, rail cars can go underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's something else that could happen. I don't know what it is. Okay, I don't know what it is, but there's got to be an easier way. I just went through that painful experience in my ultra hardcore series. So
Ah, yes, indeed.
lots of doors.
Lots of doors.
Lots of
Slime
doors.
blocks.
Hey, doors are the most efficient redstone material.
They are.
Just fill the whole thing with doors and have a
Just
maze.
doors. Door
Right.
maze. Oh my gosh, door mazes.
Mm-hmm.
I
Also-
will say, my favorite thing you can do with redstone though is mini games.
Mini games.
I love that too.
Yeah.
I also like chicken automated redstone. I don't know if you
Yes.
guys have seen that.
Randomized.
No,
Chicken
I'm not
randomizers. It's where you
Oh,
put a
yeah,
chicken.
you know,
you have a
yes, I
pressure
have.
plate. You just have like,
Yep.
and it has to be a stone pressure plate so that if the chicken lays eggs, it doesn't cause issues. But like, you just have a chicken in a room and one pressure plate, and every once in a while, the chicken will route over the pressure plate and
Oh,
trigger
there you
it.
go. There you
Oh.
go.
There's your
That's how
random.
you randomize the doorbell. Because you have that annoying chicken sound behind the walls too.
Yeah. Or you could just name tag it silenced.
That's if you have a data
Perfect.
pack in.
Yeah, if you have that data pack in.
First,
Right. And if you
Um,
don't, there you go.
I hope you know that I will be using this as often as possible
Oh dear.
and making one particular person who needs to start watching the podcast for a heads up. I'm going to make their gameplay a nightmare.
I cannot wait.
Oh,
That's
no.
awesome.
I also suspect we will see this on Undead Craft sometime soon.
The real question is which one of us is gonna chicken automate something.
Oh yeah.
I think, okay, guys, now that we've talked about this, I think what we need to do, because we're all kind of pranksters a little bit. I mean,
Just a
is
little
anybody
bit.
not a prankster on this podcast?
Code
Okay.
currently owns all of my crafting,
Crafting
tables.
tables?
So no,
Yep.
revenge will be had.
I was thinking about making some redstone death traps.
Ooh.
Okay,
I have yet to die on Undead Craft. Why would you mention this?
We're making this
Well,
happen.
okay.
I'm down. Let's do this.
Well, we don't have to make death traps. We could just make like
No, we're making
make
death
your
traps.
life super annoying redstone contraptions. I think that's our next team challenge. I think I want to throw that out there, and maybe we can think about that. Maybe it's not next time,
Hear me out.
but Yeah.
April Fool's pranks.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, and we can record ourselves going through and trying out each other's pranks.
Perfect.
Oh, I love
I
it.
call
I
chicken
love it.
automation.
Okay, go for it.
You do it. Whatever.
I want to create an overly complicated death trap that's run completely by a chicken.
Perfect.
Go for it.
Y'all got till then to figure out your little experiments.
Hey, you know what?
Mhm.
I'd also like to take this time to tell anybody that's listening to go on Twitter now, tweet at us, tell us what redstone you can absolutely not live without. And if you've got any great prank ideas, please tweet at us. You can tweet at our podcast or us individually if you'd like to keep it a secret so we can use it on each other. Because I'm sure we
Hey.
don't follow each other.
Oh yeah,
you talking
obviously
about?
we don't follow each other.
Or show us pictures of your most awesome redstone contraption that you've done. And it could be a copy, it can be original, it could be whatever you want. We want to see what you guys are doing with redstone.
Also,
Absolutely.
send us some of your dumbest redstone ideas, whether or not you've done them yet and you just want to see if they're possible, or if it's something a little silly. Send them to us, or more specifically, if the other people aren't interested, me.
I
I
want
like
to see
doing
these.
crazy things.
I want to see that too.
Send us the ridiculous, wacky, overly complicated for no reason other than being overly complicated fun things.
You know, one person I will definitely credit for being my most inspiration for redstone, though, is a friend that Fergus has had the pleasure of meeting, Mr. Yedema.
Yes.
He builds the most intense escape rooms that are only redstone powered.
Oh, but
No,
you're giving
like,
me
commands?
PTSD.
There is only one command block in the world that we were just on that was a 10-hour long escape room. And
I need to meet this
to
person.
meet
This
this
is
He is
wizard.
amazing.
he
This
is
is
a
a
phenomenal
wizard.
person. Yes, he's a wizard. We are fully aware he is a wizard. He is still trying to finish the map so we can publish it. It is amazing, and we need to edit that down first so we can post it.
I'm
Right.
gonna play that when it's published. Holy
Sounds
like
heck.
a plan.
Send that to me when it is.
Of course, of course. But absolutely, people like that, people who are able to bend and work with redstone, and even if it's not even having a full understanding of it, being able to figure out enough to do what they want to do with it blows my mind.
Wizards.
Wizards, indeed. But on that note, I do think we've hit a lot of the big topics of redstone. I know not everyone here uses redstone a lot, but when they do use it, I think we all get up to either a lot of chaos, a lot of headaches, or just satisfaction.
Both?
Tears. Don't forget the tears.
Tears, yeah, tears are there.
There's no
Hopefully
crying with
blood.
redstone.
Don't cry on the redstone, it'll wash away, it's a problem.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. No, but if you guys are liking our podcast and you are enjoying and you want to hear more of our block game banter,
Press
make
buttons.
sure you press
Do the
all
redstone,
of the buttons.
press buttons.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
press all the buttons.
Do it.
Do
Do
it.
the things.
It's redstone.
Do it.
Do the
Press
things.
buttons.
Share it with
Hey.
people who you think need to hear this type of message.
I also want to say, if you have something that we haven't talked about, an idea or a topic, let us know. I was going to say shoot us a message, but let us know because, you know, we want to talk about what you're interested in hearing about.
Absolutely. And if you want more chaos like last week's of random builds and other things like that, please let us know. It's absolutely fun to do that. But on that note, we will catch you lovely human beings later. Remember to drink some water. Y'all on this call in particular, drink some water.
Doing
No.
it now.
And we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.